Our lesson today is going to expand on some of the watercolor work that we've been doing the last few weeks. And we're going to use a combination of oil pastels and watercolors. Now, I sent over to you liquid watercolors. I don't have any liquid watercolors over here. Well, I think I have one little bottle that I might be able to use that's in blue. But you will not be using your tube watercolors. You'll be using the a liquid watercolor, and you don't necessarily need to add any water to this. But we'll talk about that as we go through it. So we're going to be creating a rain scene. I thought it was, in fact, it's raining right now as I'm videoing this. It seems like Kentucky, for some reason, has just been getting inundated with rain, and so we're going to also have a little bit of hope, particularly for the people in eastern Kentucky who have suffered so much with all the flooding. We're going to put a rainbow in our picture. So the first thing we want to do is take a blue oil pastel. So it could be a light blue or a darker blue. And we're going to make the horizon line. And we'll put it just kind of straight across like this. Leave some room up here for the rainbow. And then what this is going to be is water, okay, with raindrops coming down in it. But first we're going to do make sure I got the right color here and have it all cleaned off. We're going to do the rainbow first. So we'll just do some stripes on the rainbow. Make sure that you push down on your oil pastel. We are going to be using the wax resist method on this, so we want our rainbow to show through the rain, right? So we'll color that stripe in. And then we'll do another stripe of yellow. And I'm not going to do a blue stripe on this because the rest of the composition is going to be blue, so I don't want it to get lost. So I think we'll do a light green. You can use whatever color you want, except I don't recommend blue. Make sure you try to get rid of the crumbs there. And I guess I'll finish up with, I'm going to do a little orange. I think that's going to show up nicely through our watercolor. Okay, so now I would like you to, when you're finished with that, and you can pause the video if I'm going too fast for you, but if you're back with me, we're going to do, you know how when a raindrop hits water, it has sort of like a, you know, an oval sort of shape where it kind of ripples out, right? So that's what we're going to do. So with a light blue oil pastel, we're going to draw a series, and you can make these a little bit lighter. And the reason why we're doing this is that we actually are going to use a white for the raindrops and that kind of thing. And as you know from previous projects, it's very difficult to see white pastel on white paper, right? So this blue is going to help us locate where we've drawn a little bit. Now these should be ovals, and we want them bigger down at the bottom because it's closer to us. And then we want them to get smaller, and they're just random. So I'm making them bigger down at the bottom, and then they're going to get smaller as we go up the page. So make them kind of random, getting very small up here. And on this bottom, you might even want to make a big one that's going off the page. Let's see, we have a little blank space there. Okay, and then we're going to make raindrops. Again, we're going to do this in the blue so you can see it. And each puddle should have a raindrop coming from it, or going into it, I should say. And I'm putting mine at a little bit of an angle because it's rare that rain comes down straight on, right? And you're going to put them right over your rainbow. So rainbow is behind. Again, keep these kind of light because we are going to go over these with the white, and we'll push down more on the white. Okay, I think I'm going to put another puddle right here because I've kind of got a gap in my rain. Okay. There we go. Now, if you've used your white before, you want to take your fingernail and clean off any of the other colors that are on it, because it will end up on your paper and you'll have red in your raindrops. Okay, so I'll use this one. So right by your blue line, you want to put white, and then we're going to put some smaller, particularly right around where the raindrop is. Okay. So just put some smaller lines within your ovals, particularly where the raindrop hits. Make sure you apply some pressure. Now I'm getting close to the paper, so I can just take my fingernail and wrap that around. Oops, that one broke. Guess I was applying too much pressure. So if that happens and it's flat, you want to use the side of your oil pastel. Okay, so it looks like I got all that done. Okay, so now I'm going to go over my blue dots. And if you get different colors on your white, you'd have to stop every so often and clean it off. And make sure you do the drop that's going into your water puddle. Oops. And I'll finish up using my little stub here. Make sure you're pressing down. Okay, I think I have them all done. Those crumbs are very thick. There we go. Okay, your hands might be dirty, you might need to wash them. Okay, so now we're ready to start working with our watercolors. And the first thing that you want to do, if you're using the liquid watercolor, you just want to put it in a bowl. Okay. But I'm not going to use mine until the end because it's a little lighter blue, and I'm going to work with the darker blue first. Okay, so I've got a Prussian blue, which is pretty dark. But like we did with the pineapple, I'm going to make a wet area very quickly. So we're using what's called the wet on wet technique. Okay, and then I think we can do the whole bottom here if we do it fast with a big brush. You want to be using a big brush with this project. Can you see how the water itself is sort of pooling up when it's hitting that wax? All right, so now you'll want to use your liquid watercolor, but I'm going to make mine pretty liquidy. And then I'm going to paint it over. Oh yeah, that's working. Again, we need to work fairly quickly here before it dries out. So we're using just one color of blue right now. Then we're going to use a little bit of black. You'll see how some of it is kind of pooling up a little bit and it's becoming darker. That's okay. Get some of that black out. Make it pretty runny, and then we're going to add just a little bit of black and just kind of let it, doesn't have to be in all areas, we just want this to kind of pool around just a little bit, just add some color variation. And you know how water, when it gets darker, when it gets deeper, it gets a little bit darker. So I'll add a little bit of that black. Okay. Now I'm going to use some of my liquid. And I'm going to have a wet brush. This might be kind of cool because it's got glitter in it. So I'm just going to, again, just add this in places just to add some different color to it. Trying to keep it from ponding. I guess it's a weird thing to do since I'm... And then as it dries a little bit, you can add some of the darker blue again inside the ovals. So basically we're messing around here and having fun. Okay, so it's ponding up, my paper's starting to wrinkle a little bit, and it's ponding up a little too much for my liking right here. So I'm gonna kind of get rid of some of that. Not all of it, because some of it's, but when it's too much. And then go back over it. You know, water is, you know, obviously there's movement here, so it's fine to have brush strokes going different ways, right? Yeah, I like that better. A little bit of ponding here. I'm going to get rid of all of my dark colors, so I'm going to come in with a little drier brush. And put back in some of those dark areas. Just without all the water. Might put a little bit of the black right where the raindrops are hitting. Okay, so now we're going to turn it around and we're going to use our blue again on this, and this time I'm going to start with, well, it's kind of blue water, but we're painting it all blue, so we're going to do our wet on wet again. Okay, got it pretty wet. So now we're going to wet our brush and put it into the liquid watercolor and let it go to town. Let's see what it does over the, oh, very cool. Rainbow's looking cool. Some of this around. Don't want to overbrush. Now you could put some darker, you know, clouds and that kind of thing in this if you want, but I'm going to leave it a little bit lighter so that there's some variation between the sky and the water with the raindrops hitting it. Okay, pretty simple project, but I really like the results of it, and I hope you do too. Thank you.